Angry wolf suddenly grabs the dead man's throat during his burial. The reason shocked everyone. At Aaron's funeral in the neighborhood church, there were not many people present. Aaron kept to himself and lived a quiet life. Because he kept to himself while he was alive, he didn't have many friends. Even though he was friendly and smiled at everyone, he wasn't eager to make friends. He never talked longer for than what was necessary, and he soon got what he wanted. He went back to his house on the edge of town. It wasn't a surprise that less than a dozen people showed at his funeral. Even those who didn't know him. They were just there to show their support for a neighborhood member who had passed. Some people in the front seats of the church knew Aaron. There was Aaron's lawyer, Jace, a 12-year-old boy who Aaron loved until the day he died, and a few other people that Jace didn't know about. Jace was upset that not many people showed up to the funeral. Surely Aaron deserved a lot more. He was sure that the church would have been packed to the brim with people who knew what a kind person Aaron had been. In any case, there was nothing that could be done. Aaron had always kept to himself, and Jace was sure that he would have liked how few people came to his church to honor him. Crowds were one thing Aaron really did not like. It was right in front of the altar where Aaron was lying in state, where the preacher stood on the pulpit and spoke to the audience and the grieving among them. Soon enough, the priest finished his sermon. Just as he gave the all clear to start the burial, a black-coated wolf walked in through the open door, shocking everyone. The wolf was beautiful. Its fur was completely black, but there were white spots on some of its body. The wolf was big and seemed very dangerous. When the people in the church saw it, many of them screamed in shock. Jace wasn't left out. He jumped to his feet when he saw the wolf. Her name was Husky. He couldn't say anything, so he just held his breath and watched as the animal walked down the church aisle to the coffin. The wolf looked right at the coffin and didn't even look at the people. Nothing could pull her eyes away. After a while, the husky stopped in front of the casket, getting close enough to Aaron's face that she could look inside. The speaker took a step back as he held the microphone tightly, like a weapon, in front of the crowd. Some of the people called for a gun to scare the animal away, while others called the police. Since there was a lot going on behind Husky, she didn't pay a lot of attention. She was focused on Aaron, and she made a sound like she was being choked as she sank her face into the coffin and started to lick Aaron's face. People in the crowd let out a shocked gasp as they watched with bated breath. Husky kept licking Aaron's face, and after a while, she let out another sad whine. She looked like she was shocked that Aaron wasn't answering her. Many people were scared but forgot about it as they watched the sad picture of the wolf showing how it felt. Everything changed quickly though when the husky bared her teeth and grabbed Aaron by the neck. The wolf tried to pull Aaron out of the box, which made everyone scream in shock. The wolf's pulling made the coffin shake, but it held together. After a while, the husky let go of Aaron and ran out of the church like a secret was out. Jason stood there, shocked, as the animal ran past him into the bush. Like everyone else, he was confused. His surprise at this was that huskies could never do something like that to Aaron, alive or dead. Jace knew this because Husky was one of Aaron's few friends while he was still alive, just like him. It started out just like Chase and Aaron, and this was house next to Aaron's that Jace lived in. When his parents had to go to work, Jace spent time with Aaron. He did things around the house and made sure his fridge was always full. Aaron told Jace a lot about his past while they spent time together. Aaron had been a soldier for a long time, and many of his friends had died in the war. He was trying very hard not to make friends because he had seen too much blood and death and couldn't stand to lose people again. So he stayed to himself and wouldn't talk to anyone. But he couldn't follow that rule when it came to Jace. Almost right away, he liked the kid. He liked the way Jace asked questions and the way he explained the answers so that he could fully grasp them. It was always a happy thing. At first, Aaron and Jace did the shopping together, but soon, Aaron got sick and couldn't do it. Jace had to go by himself, and it didn't bother Jace at all. He liked helping the old man in any way he could, and he didn't think of it as work. He would even do it even more if he could. Before Husky came into their lives, things were going really well for both of them. Aaron found her at the edge of the woods, bleeding heavily from a wound made by a hunter's trap. Aaron knew that the wolf was going to die of blood loss if he didn't do something. She was in a lot of pain. She knew that was something that he couldn't let happen. He took the wolf in and helped her heal. In his barn, which he meant for a horse but didn't have any, the wolf had the whole place to herself. Since there was no hay on the floor, it was always warm, and the windows were closed tight to keep out the cold. After that, he cleaned the wound and treated it, and then stitched it up using a little medical information he had gained in the military. The wolf never got angry or tried to attack him during the whole thing. She knew that he could be trusted as soon as she saw him. Aaron was proud and promised to do his best for the animal. As the wolf got better, he fed her and made her always comfy. He told Jace to go to the store and buy food for the wolf. The little boy was interested in this change in the shopping list. It was strange that he bought a lot of more meat than normal. He asked Aaron about it, but Aaron didn't give him a clear answer. At first, it was clear that the old man was trying to hide the truth from him, which made him even more interested. He did what he was asked, though, and brought everything up to the house. He then hid across the yard and pretended to leave so he could watch Aaron do everything. He saw Aaron bring the meat into the barn and feed it to the wolf. It was shocking at first, but only a short time. Taking care of a hairy wolf seemed like something Aaron would do. He had such a kind heart, and he met Aaron at the barn and told him that the wolf's appearance was no longer a secret. He was told by Aaron not to tell anyone. There was a lot of danger for wolves in the woods because shooters and poachers were always after them. There would be no more wolves in the bush if people didn't watch out for them. People were killing them all. Jace got it and agreed not to tell anyone. The friendship between the two people and the wolf grew over time. Aaron still had to come up with a name for her after being with her for weeks. So did Jace. He named her Husky. He could pet Husky and run her hands through his hair. Every once in a while, she would lick his face. Her cut quickly got better and she was able to walk normally again, and she went hunting on her own. Aaron didn't have to buy her any more meat. She only went out during the day and came home at night. But soon she began to stay out for whole days. She always came back though. She sat on Aaron's front porch and he would join her there. They sat there in quiet conversation. Jace joined them after a while, and it was always a sweet moment. Life would have been perfect if things kept going that way, but disaster was around the corner and neither of them saw it coming. As usual, Aaron sent Jace to get food. When Jace got back, Aaron told him that he was hungry for bread, so Jace offered to make him tea to go with it. It didn't take long to make the tea because Jace had everything he needed nearby. He was in the kitchen for only 5 minutes, but when he came out with the tea, he saw something that he'll never forget. Aaron was on the floor, shaking, and there were pieces of bread all over the place. While Jace was running over to help the old man up, the tray with the tea fell from his hands and hit the floor. He was lost in crying and he didn't know what to do. He called the ambulance and they got there quickly. Aaron was put into a vehicle and taken to the hospital, and when he got there, he was too late. The doctors had already declared him dead, saying that his old age had made his heart weak. It broke Jace's heart, and he had no idea what was going to go on. Everything was fine one minute, and then Aaron was gone. He tried to figure out what went wrong, but he just couldn't. Everyone in town heard about this death very quickly, and the church said that he had to be buried right away since they didn't have any family or friends. Being buried the next day was planned because he could stay in the morgue if they had made him out to stay too long. People in the neighborhood were told about it, but only a few actually showed up. Even Husky said goodbye to Aaron one last time. Jace was confused as he still looked at the spot where the wolf had just left. He didn't know why Husky did what she did. Like everyone else, the preacher looked like he was scared, and he shook his head and cleared his throat, as if to say, "Take back control." He was about to say something when all of a sudden Aaron jumped out of the box with his eyes wide open and gasped for air. People in the church screamed in shock as they looked at the man who was meant to be dead but was sitting up in his coffin. Aaron turned to see where he was. He looked over and saw Jace crying very hard in the front pew, and right away the little boy ran over and gave him a hug. But the hug didn't last long because Jace saw that Aaron had a fever. Aaron was taken to the hospital again, and in fact Jace never left his side this time. He held the old man's hand tightly, as if letting go would let him get away. Aaron was taken to the emergency room where the doctor treated him for 1 or 2 hours. As everyone held their breath, there was nothing but pain. No one knew how a man who had been thought to be dead could suddenly come back to life, and it was stranger that a wolf had something to do with it. The doctors soon came out, and with shocking news, Aaron had never died. He was paralyzed because of an allergic response. Aaron was allergic to peanuts, and he ate something with peanuts in it. That's when Jace remembered the peanut bread butter that he had bought. He had no idea that Aaron was allergic to peanuts. The old man didn't have to say anything about it. Seeing how dangerous he had made things to his friend, he felt very guilty. After continuing to describe what happened, the doctor said that paralysis is a sign of peanut allergy. When this happens, the muscles relax and the tongue can fall backwards and block the lungs. This makes breathing and heart rate very slow, and which is why the first doctors who saw him thought he was dead. All of a sudden, Jace understood what had happened and how Aaron came back to life without him knowing. He was saved by his husky. The husky had grabbed his neck and tried to pull him out of the coffin. She moved his body in the box and tilted his head backwards. This move allowed his tongue to move forward and open his airways, letting him breathe normally again. After some time, the doctors told him that he should go see Aaron. He was now already and sent back home. As soon as Jace walked in, he broke down in tears and asked the old man to forgive him. Aaron would never have been so close to dying if he had brought that bread. Because he was one of the ones who should have forgive him, Aaron let him not to go. Aaron said he should have told Jace about his health problem, but he didn't. He was afraid of meeting new people and making new friends, which almost cost him his life. He told Jace that he would not keep any more secrets from him. Soon after, Aaron was let out of the hospital, and his first place he went was to the woods. After Husky saved his life, he gave her a big hug. He didn't think there was anything that he could do to thank her. The most important thing, everything had taught him how important friends are. That thing would never happen again, he swore. He would make more friends and tell them important things about himself. What a beautiful story. Who would have thought that Husky would turn around and pay him back so quickly? Like always, we want to hear back from you and what you feel about this story. Let us know in the opinions in the comment section below.